Hello and welcome to Armed with Controllers. This is Fabs and today I'm playing Dynasty Warriors 8 again. This time I'm going to be playing Battle of Cheng and I'm playing as Yueying. So I thought I'd pick this particular combination of people because playing through the Shu story mode, found myself picking Yueying on a complete whim and found her to be a complete wrecking machine. It is pretty awesome. And I picked this particular stage because it is pretty damn important in that if you want to recruit Pang Tong, who happens to be one of my favourite characters, you need to do certain things in this stage, which I'll be showing you. So there we go. So, Yueying, what's her deal? First appeared in Dynasty Warriors 4, sorry, when she was using the dagger axe that you can see here. In 6, they gave her a very interesting weapon, a sort of a wrist-mounted crossbow, which sadly hasn't really made a return as her weapon. They do have one as one of the weapons, I think, with DLC, so it's got a chance to come back used by somebody else. A bit like Suma Yi's wire gauntlets in 6 coming back on his wife. But there we go. So yeah, I picked Yueying because I was disturbed at just how powerful she is. I mean, at the moment, yes, I do have a 4-star weapon with her, which is awesome at causing all kinds of fun damage. But also, as you see here, her EX attack basically summons bombs from the sky, and her secondary moveset there summons a bunch of mini juggernauts. And the amount of damage they do is astounding. Okay, so what I'm doing here is very important. Doesn't come up on the map. This is where you find Zhang Ren hiding. Now, for those of you who don't know the history, Zhang Ren is the guy in charge of the ambush, which ultimately led to the death of Pang Tong. So what you want to do here is you do need to kill Zhang Ren. Otherwise, yeah, you're without Pang Tong, and as far as I'm concerned, that's not a life worth living. So rescuing Pang Tong is one of the requirements for getting the what if stages in the story mode. Other ones include keeping rescuing Zhu Shu during the Battle of Chibi, sorry. Also you need to have some fun in the Yellow Turban Rebellion. You need to basically let old Zhang Zhao see that you're a pretty cool guy really, and he actually then comes and helps you during Hulao Gate, which is pretty weird. So there we go. I am doing this on free mode because at this point in time in story mode you can't play as Yueying, which is a shame because she had turned up then. In fact, she during a previous battle you do find her guarding Zhuge Liang, her husband's house, which is pretty bizarre. So historically Yueying, as with most of the female characters in this, she didn't have too much to do per se. I mean, other exist as a pawn in political games and whatnot, but no, she was one of the more active people. They make a big deal of how Zhuge Liang married her not because of her looks. Apparently she was quite plain. No, he married her because of her fearless mind, and as such, towards the end of the book, after Zhuge Liang has died, she does plan the strategy with her son to stop the forces of Jin causing issues. So she's a bit more active than, say, Zhao Kao and Da Kao ever were. So that's something. I've switched her weapon now to Guan. I can't remember her name actually. Guan something or another. One of the daughters of Guan Yu. One of the many daughters of Guan Yu, I should say. Her weapon there, the weird, sort of like a milking maid kind of deal. But yeah, it's surprisingly strong. It's got very good range. It's not a weapon I probably will use particularly regularly. Although who knows? Maybe it's got a really awesome EX attack. Who knows? So yeah, I'm just gonna. You're gonna see a lot of those juggernauts in this level because they do just so much damage. It's quite something. Okay, so activate my rage mode. Have a bit of fun. The dagger axe is quite a strong weapon. It's got a lot of grabby moves, which makes sense. It's that seems to focus on pulling people either towards you or using them as weapons against the other enemies, which I quite like. Let's summon a few more of these guys. Look at them. So much damage. It's obscene. So Yueying's shtick in this game does appear to be that she has all these things like juggernauts and other crazy technological things at her array, which is pretty good. So it's almost like using a summon character in Dynasty Warriors, although the true summon character in this one at least is definitely Cao Cao's General Sword, because that's got the really interesting conceit of basically you summon somebody else to attack for you with charge attacks, which is pretty funky. I quite like it. I mean, I'm always going to miss Cao Cao's regular swordiness, but you know, being able to get someone else to do the heavy lifting for you, it's pretty damn sneaky. Okay, so Lord Castle is ours. Yay! Now, if I had to let Pang Tong get attacked by the arrows there, he'd still be going here, but instead at the end of the level we get a sad cutscene of guys. Yeah, everyone's sad. Okay, here's her third Muso, her aerial one. As you can see, I summon what appears to be stealth bombers. Made of, you know, wooden stealth bombing birds. It's insane. Okay, that's her other Muso there. Basically, yeah, managed to just summon a rock from nowhere. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so, despite this being hard mode, the enemies are falling before me, which I quite like. Okay, so this battle in particular in history is often what you'll find people use as an argument against Liu Bei being an OMG perfect man, you know, a perfect moral kind of dude, because he is effectively at this point, in order to secure a decent base to counteract Wu and Wei, he is attacking a distant family member who had taken him in. Now, one of the things in the novel is the tension between Zhuge Liang, who wasn't as concerned with OMG morals and more concerned with we need to do this to stop Cao Cao or else everyone suffers. Liu Bei agonised about this decision because, you know, okay, yes, Liu Zhang was fairly useless as a governor. He was going to get, if Cao Cao attacked, he'd have been completely flattened. But he wasn't going to be handing over the land anytime soon. So yes, Liu Bei did eventually have to give in, agree with Zhuge Liang, and take out Liu Zhang. So it's an interesting thing because one of the major themes of the novel is brotherhoods, as particularly made evident by Liu Bei, Zhang Fei and Guan Yu being the three brothers. Their peach garden is the opening of the book, the main subject of the first chapter, and one of the big things is, well, one of the major causes of Shu's downfall, in fact, I'd argue, would be Liu Bei's familial binds with Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, because he finds that he often would give up the strategic advantage to perform what he would consider to be, you know, ethically right, which is interesting, because at the time the book was written, there was a lot of supporters for Liu Bei's for Liu Bei et al. And this was the height of Guan Yu's deification. In fact, if you go to I can't remember where, but there's a pretty massive statue in China of Guan Yu, which I think was completed quite recently actually. Huge golden statue, him with his magnificent beard. Look it up sometime, it's pretty awesome. Anyway, so enough of this madness, let's get back to this game. So, Dagger Axe, as you can see, every time I'm attacking, there's actually a bit of wind around me, which is pretty cool. This is because I've leveled up Yueying to a certain point, and one of the each weapon falls into one of 4 categories. I'm not overly familiar with the other 2, but one of the other ones is when you've achieved maximum proficiency, you can cancel your attacks with the jump button. So people like Yueying, Zhang Fei, their X weapons invariably fall under that category. So they tend to have playstyles that focus around hitting and getting out before you can take too much damage in return. The heavy weapon here, like what Yueying's currently equipped with, when these reach maximum proficiency, you instead get a little wind around your attack, which instantly increases its range, which is very helpful considering what you want to be doing here is playing people like Yueying as a tank. Send them in, hit things, throw juggernauts at them, as you can see here. Oh, I must have driven off the bridge. That's awkward. So yes, so it's pretty interesting seeing how the different weapons encourage different play styles. One of the skills you can equip for each weapon is one that gives you the benefits of that weapon type to whatever you're using. So, for example, if I was playing a Zhang He, I could do my cancels, but I could also have the extra range of my attacks, which would actually be quite useful for Zhang He. So that's something I should think about when I've got that skill. Okay, so we've just successfully massacred half of these poor no-name schlubs, and we've got catapults now. Everything is made better with catapults in the Dynasty Warriors franchise. There's no argument there. It's always fun getting to use them sometimes. Problem is, I don't get to use them now, so I'm getting very bored of waiting. So I apologise for the rather uninteresting sights at the moment. No, let's just observe these catapults. Look at them go. I must say this is quite annoying having to wait for the catapults in this case, particularly because all the enemies before this gate have been killed. You'd think they could have maybe just made allowances there to skip that, but never mind. Okay, so we're coming up to Chengdu Castle. I'm going to show that guy who's boss. It's always interesting seeing what kind of weapons the no-name generals have, the generics. Now see this guy here, he's using Wang Yi's throwing knives, which, yeah, very feminine weapon. How strange. Okay, and here we have 4 bros attacking the castle. Nice little cutscene for you. Mat Dai and Mat Chao. I like these guys.
We're always secure here, away from the fighting.
He talks of benevolence, and yet brings this destruction. The villain.
Mat Chao. If ever there was a character who's Mat Chao, he's hilarious with his constant justice. And it's weird there seeing Mad Dai refer to Mat Chao as young master. I mean, it makes sense. Mad Dai was Mat Chao's uncle, I believe. And yet, you know, Mat Chao does look quite a bit older than Mad Dai. He looks perpetually young with his ridiculous paintbrush weapon. So I've spoken in many previous videos I've done about how I love these crazy blustering characters who fight for justice, right and whatnot. Mat Chao is a perfect example of these. In Mat Chao, I think he got his first... He was one of the earliest characters to turn up in the Dynasty Warriors series, certainly. If it wasn't in 3, then must have been 2. So, yeah, he's always fell under the rather generic spear moveset, with the exception of 6, where they gave him a great sword. Quite strange. No, if you're playing as Mat Chao, what you want to do is basically, you want to be on a horse, like the Old Spice guy, because then he gets so many bonuses from attacking on a horse, especially comparatively. And that could have ended really badly. Thankfully, the temporary invincibility from the good old Musa helped me out there. So that's one thing. When you are playing on the higher difficulties, more often than not, you will find it's a good idea to save at least one Musa when you're hacking and slashing at a boss in particular, because that way you can escape what could otherwise be a rather deadly killing, which is because you often will find like fighting pretty much anyone. You'll be doing slivers of damage to them. They'll do 2 hits and oh, there's my life bar, lol. So yes, do make sure you keep your Musos about, otherwise it could end very badly for all concerned. Alright, so I have now been given a lot of people to kill. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy this a lot, I think. Oh, thank you, random person. I do like getting complimented by these people. Oi! That was my kill. Now, one thing I have always noticed in professional game reviewers, whenever they tend to review Dynasty Warriors games, aside from the usual rubbish of you only press one button or etc., they often complain about how the AI is useless. When the ally AI, this is. Personally, I'm okay with this in certain parts, particularly when they're fighting nearby you, because usually the AI is a kill-stealing bastard, as we saw just then. Why am I playing this game? Because I want to rack up an obscene kill count. I want to see 1,000 Chinese people fall before me. Bear in mind, it's not in real life. I have no real problem with the Chinese people. They're pretty good. Okay, minus Spain. So, no, I'm playing this because I want to duel crazy bad guys and whatnot. Yes, it's not fighting like a real army. Fair enough. That's what the romance of 3 people in the game are for. This is just battlefield action, hack and slash fun. It's not fun to spend all that time killing somebody, only to have some random CPU peon come in and nick it from me. Because that means I get a lot less experience and a lot less fun in the future. So think about it. Okay, so as you can see here, I have gotten slightly carried away with the killing. You see, the skills I have equipped on Yueying, I've got the quick learner to help me with my levelling up, which is cool. I've got, I can't remember the exact name, but I've got the one that basically means my rage bar fills up quicker, one that increases my range, and also one that increases the chances of items dropping. So what this means is, the more I kill these guys, particularly with, say, Muso and whatnot, they're more great chance of them dropping Muso wine, refilling it. So I could really have an endless chain of juggernauts going on, executing all these people. I mean, look at this, it's been less than 5 minutes, and I've pretty much doubled my kill count. It's glorious. I really should stop though, because I'm sure there are people that will need to fight with Shu at some point. Considering if I do take over Cheng, these guys will be fighting for me. Nah. Okay, let's actually take out Zhuge Liang now. I mean, he deserves it, he's useless. But first, let's just stop these guys from looking at my heels. Bloody hell. Quick scouring of what's left, pick up a few more items. Oh, is that them again? Okay, come on. Alright, instead I'll just, there we are, 1,300 kills. That's a respectable amount, I feel. See, thank you, Pang Chong. I do use strength as well as cunning. Thank you for noticing. I do like Pang Chong. He's a pretty cool guy. Crazy magic hobo. Still think his best appearance and costume was in Dynasty Warriors 3. His first appearance. Because, magic hobo. And he had that pretty awesome Muso that basically made crowds suffer immensely. Okay. Now, one of the disappointing things about fighting these generic bosses, generic guys as bosses, is that there's always not as much a feeling of awesome like killing them. Never mind. Here he is crying because we beat him senseless. And here are my stalwart allies, telling him he sucks. Okay, so that was a battle of Chengdu. Hopefully those of you who are having trouble unlocking Pang Tong will take a few lessons from this. So this has been Fabs, Armed with Controllers. Please like and subscribe. And, as always, game hard. Good night.